Picture this, the late 1990s. Heavyweight boxing is alive, electric, a global obsession. Two names dominate the conversation, not just for their fists, but for the stories they carry. Mike Tyson, the kid from Brooklyn's darkest corners, a prodigy turned predator, the most feared man to ever step into a ring. And Eric Esch, Butterbean, a 400-pound giant from small-town America, a walking contradiction who laughs off the world but hits like a freight train. They were never supposed to share a ring. Their worlds were too different. Tyson was precision, rage, discipline honed to a razor's edge. Butterbean was raw, unpolished, a man who fought like he had nothing to lose. Yet, for years, fans dreamed of it. Promoters whispered about it. The fight that could have been. Tyson versus Butterbean. Speed against strength. A storm against a mountain. A collision that would have shaken boxing to its core. Let's start with Tyson. To understand him, you have to go back to Brownsville, Brooklyn, in the 1970s. A kid, small for his age, bullied, broke, angry at a world that seemed to hate him. Mike Tyson wasn't born a champion, he was born a survivor. By 12, he was in and out of trouble, running the streets, until fate brought him to Cus D'Amato, a trainer who saw something in the kid's eyes. Hunger. Fire. Cus took that raw anger and shaped it, like a sculptor with clay. He taught Tyson discipline, focus, and a style that would terrify the world, the peekaboo stance. Head bobbing, fists tight, moving like a panther. Every step calculated, every punch a missile. Tyson wasn't tall for a heavyweight, barely 5 feet 10 inches, but he was a compact nightmare. His power wasn't just in his gloves, it was in his presence. By 20, Tyson was a phenomenon. November 1986, he steps into the ring against Trevor Berbick. The world watches. Berbick, a seasoned champion, doesn't stand a chance. Tyson swarms him, a blur of hooks and uppercuts. 2 rounds, and Berbick's on the canvas, trying to stand, falling again. Tyson becomes the youngest heavyweight champion in history. The crowd erupts. This wasn't just a win, it was a coronation. For years, he was untouchable. Opponents didn't just lose, they were humiliated. Men twice his size, 6 feet 4 inches, 250 pounds, crumpled in minutes. His knockouts were brutal, final, like a guillotine dropping. But it wasn't just the punches. It was the fear. Before the first bell, Tyson's stare, cold, empty, unblinking, told you everything. He wasn't there to box. He was there to destroy. But empires fall. Tyson's did, too. Fame, money, betrayal, scandals, they piled up like weights on his shoulders. By 1992, prison took him away for 3 years. When he returned, the fire was still there, but it flickered. He was slower, angrier, haunted by the shadow of who he'd been. The world didn't care about titles anymore. They just wanted to see Mike Tyson fight. They wanted that old spark, that chaos he brought to the ring. Even in his decline, Tyson was a draw, a name that filled arenas. Because with Tyson, you never knew what you'd get, but you knew it'd be unforgettable. Now, enter Butterbean. Eric Esch didn't come from boxing gyms or city streets. He came from Jasper, Alabama, a place where fights were settled in parking lots, not pay-per-view. He wasn't an athlete by design. Bald, round, pushing 400 pounds, he looked like your uncle who'd had one too many beers. But when Eric Esch stepped into a ring, the jokes stopped. They called him Butterbean, a nickname from his days eating beans to make weight for local fights. He started in tough man competitions, those wild, bare-knuckle style brawls where regular guys, truckers, bouncers, factory workers, threw hands for cash and glory. Butterbean didn't just compete. He dominated. His fists were sledgehammers. One punch could end a night. Promoters saw gold. They turned him professional, and the fans fell in love. Butterbean wasn't about footwork or finesse. He was a spectacle. A human wrecking ball. He'd march forward, eating punches like they were nothing, then swing, a massive hook, a haymaker, and his opponent would be staring at the lights. Crowds didn't come for 12-round chess matches. They came for chaos. Butterbean delivered. He became the king of the 4-rounders, a title he wore like a badge. He fought on big cards, showed up in movies, even slammed bodies in WWE. But don't mistake him for a gimmick. Butterbean was tough. He could take a beating, shake it off, and come back swinging. His power was real. His heart was undeniable. Now, imagine it's 1997. Tyson's fresh out of prison, clawing his way back to relevance. Butterbean's at his peak, knocking out men left and right, a fan favorite who fills seats. Behind closed doors, promoters start talking. What if? What if the baddest man on the planet faced the toughest man in the game? Tyson versus Butterbean. It's not about belts or rankings. It's about something primal. Two forces of nature, colliding in a ring. Speed versus strength. Precision versus endurance. A fight that would sell out any arena, anywhere, in minutes. Picture the scene. A Las Vegas arena, packed to the rafters. The air's thick with sweat and anticipation. Tyson's in his corner, black gloves, black trunks, no socks, pacing like a caged animal. His eyes are locked on nothing, that stare that's broken men before they've thrown a punch. Across the ring, Butterbean bounces lightly on his feet, all 400 pounds of him, a grin on his face but fire in his eyes. The crowd screaming, chanting both names. The bell rings. Round 1. Tyson explodes out of his corner, head weaving, feet dancing. He's a blur, closing the distance in seconds. A jab snaps Butterbean's head back. Another. Tyson's testing him, probing for weakness. Butterbean swings a massive right hook, Tyson ducks, the punch whistling over his head. The crowd gasps. Tyson answers with a left to the body, a thud that echoes like a drum. Butterbean grunts but doesn't budge. He's a mountain, rooted, unmoved. He swings again, a wild haymaker. Tyson slips it, lands a quick uppercut. The round ends with both men standing, the arena on its feet. Round 2. Tyson smells blood. He's faster now, darting in, out, in again. A right hook catches Butterbean's jaw, his head snaps sideways. The crowd roars. Butterbean stumbles, just for a second, but he's still there, still smiling. Tyson presses, unloading a combination, left, right, left again. Each punch lands clean, shaking the giant. But Butterbean won't fall. He absorbs it, shakes his head, and throws a counter, a heavy left that grazes Tyson's shoulder. Tyson feels the power. He backs off, resets. The bell rings, and the arena's shaking. Round 3. Tyson's breathing harder now. Butterbean's face is red, but he's still moving forward, relentless. Tyson weaves, lands a vicious uppercut. Butterbean's knees buckle. The crowd screaming for the finish. Tyson swarms, a flurry of punches, left, right, body, head. Butterbean hits the ropes, wobbling. The referee's watching close. One more clean shot, a left hook to the chin, and Butterbean's down. The ref waves it off. Technical knockout, Mike Tyson. The place erupts, a wall of sound. But here's the thing, that fight never happened. It lived only in our imaginations, in late-night bar debates, in the what-ifs of boxing history. Years later, both men spoke about it. Butterbean, with that easy grin, said he'd have fought Tyson any time, any place. He respected Mike's power but believed he could take it, maybe even outlast him. Tyson, when asked, chuckled in that high-pitched laugh of his. "Butterbean's a tough guy," he said. "That would have been fun." Fun. That's the word he used. And maybe that's what makes this story so gripping. It wasn't about who'd win. It was about the spectacle, the clash of two souls who fought for different reasons but burned with the same fire. Tyson fought to conquer, to prove he was more than the kid the world wrote off. Butterbean fought to show that heart could outweigh polish, that a regular guy could be extraordinary. Their legacies didn't need belts or records. They were bigger than that. Tyson was the storm, beautiful, terrifying, unpredictable. Butterbean was the mountain, unyielding, enduring, real. Together, they represented something universal, the need to fight, to stand, to be seen. If that fight had happened, it might have lasted 5 minutes, maybe less. But those minutes would have been pure chaos. The sound of Tyson's fists, like thunderclaps. The sight of Butterbean, refusing to fall, grinning through the pain. The crowd, on its feet, screaming until their throats gave out. It would have been madness, the kind of moment that lives forever in highlight reels and barstool stories. Instead, it remains one of boxing's greatest what-ifs. A dream that never became real but never quite faded, either. Because in boxing, the fights that never happen can be just as powerful as the ones that do. Tyson and Butterbean never touched gloves, but their stories orbit each other, like two stars that passed close enough to feel the pull but never collided. Tyson, the symbol of controlled rage. Butterbean, the embodiment of raw heart. Two men from different worlds, sharing the same ring in our minds. And maybe that's enough. Maybe the beauty of this fight is that it lives forever, untouched, perfect, in the space between what was and what could have been.